What's up, everybody? Here's 5 moves I'd love to see at the quarterback position from a fantasy perspective this offseason. First off, Aaron Rodgers. How about going to the Vikings, following in the footsteps of Brett Favre and throwing the football to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, a very fantasy friendly offense? That would be great for Rodgers in terms of his fantasy value. If Rodgers is in Minnesota, then Sam Darnold won't be, which means, well, he needs a new team. How about the Giants? At least he'll have an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Daboll. He's not going to retain the same value he had in Minnesota, but he also will have Malik Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy, and some young players on the offensive side for the Giants. So Donald could be a QB2 in New York. And speaking of New York, how about Justin Fields going to the Jets? They need a quarterback. He's 26. He has been a top 10 quarterback before from a fantasy perspective, and he also has a pretty good knowledge of the Jets' number one wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, because remember, they played together at the Ohio State University. So I like Fields with the Jets. Next up, Kirk Cousins. I say that Atlanta cuts him. They save $15 million if they cut him after June 1st per spot rack. And then he goes to the Cleveland Browns because they need a quarterback. Deshaun Watson, who knows what's going on with him? And Cousins knows the offense of Kevin Stefanski. He played under Stefanski when he was the offensive coordinator in Minnesota back in 2019. So that's a good fit. And then finally, I mean, this one makes too much sense not to happen. Russell Wilson going to the Raiders, reuniting with Pete Carroll. The Raiders have a lot of money to spend under the salary cap. They've got draft capital. Not that Russell would return to being a QB1 in fantasy, but he certainly will be a QB2, especially if the Raiders did right by him and improved that offensive line and gave him new weapons in the passing game.